Well, good afternoon, everybody, and a really warm welcome to the first of the Sustainable Improvement Team's NHS England-wide Building Bridges webinars that we've set up for you so that we can share and learn from each other around all things improvement. So an extremely warm welcome today to new colleagues who are joining us from across the NHS England estate. My name's Elaine Bailiff, Senior Improvement Manager within the SI team, and I'll be your facilitator for today's session, which is going to feature my lovely colleagues, Andrew Lamb and Heather Lockett, and our SI Knowledge Hubs. Now, before we get started, we would like to say that we really love these sessions to be interactive. So please do get involved, and if you have any queries or any reflections or things that you would like to raise, please do pop those in the chat box. If you're not used to using WebEx, you'll find the chat box on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And if you write your message into the chat box there and in the send to box above, click on the drop-down arrow and select all participants, and then click on the send button. We'll all be able to see your queries in the chat box window that's on your screen. You also have an option to raise your hand if you'd like to raise a question, and the raise hand icon is just above the chat box. You'll see a little icon of a hand. If you click on that, pop it up, we'll pick it up and we'll come to you through the course of the presentation. We're also going to be taking you live to the Knowledge Hub through the course of this presentation. So if you need to increase the size of the text or the font that you're seeing on screen, you can do that by using the magnifying glass. You'll see that just above the window where you're seeing the Sustainable Improvement Team webinar slide right now. And it looks like a little magnifying glass with a cross in the centre of it. If you click on that, you can zoom in or use the magnifying glass just to the side to zoom back out again. So hopefully that will enable you all to see exactly what Andrew and Heather are going to show you on the screen. Okay, so without any more nonsense from me, I'm going to hand straight over to Heather and she'll introduce the Knowledge Hub to you. Thanks, Heather.
Thanks, Elaine. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Andrew Lamb and myself today. As Elaine says, Andrew and myself are part of the Knowledge Engagement and Spread team within Sustainable Improvement, and we're really excited about sharing two of the practical resources that we've developed within Sustainable Improvement with yourself. As Elaine said, please feel free to add to chat in the chat box, and there will be an opportunity at the end to ask and answer any questions for you. So, as Elaine says, there's two resources we want to take you through today. We could be External Improvement Knowledge Hub, which sits as an annex on the NHS England website, which is available to everyone and anyone within NHS England and outside, because it features on the World Wide Web. And then the Internal Knowledge Hub, which Andrew's going to take you through in detail, which is available to all the lucky people on the line today. It's available to NHS England, and as you will see, there is a rich amount of knowledge and intelligence that will certainly help you all in your day-to-day projects and programs. So without further ado, I'll pass over to Andrew, take you through the Internal Hub, and then I will give you a whistle-stop tour of the External Hub. Thank you.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks Elaine and Heather for the introduction. As we said, my name is Andrew Lamb, some of you will know, and I'm the lead for the Sustainable Improvement Team's Knowledge and Intelligence team. And I'm going to provide a walkthrough of some of the improvement knowledge resources that we have on the internal SI Knowledge Hub. So very briefly, I'll start by setting some context, and then we'll jump out and take a look at the Knowledge Hub. So I lead a three-person team comprising Fiona, Joe, and myself. And our purpose is to support improvement programs and projects to deliver their work as efficiently and as effectively as possible. And we do that in two ways, by providing, on the one hand, a centralized knowledge hub of improvement content and intelligence, and then on the other, by providing a bespoke knowledge service. So as we deliver that knowledge service, we have the following model in mind. So this is a knowledge model that was developed by a chap called Nick Milton. He was formerly of the knowledge team at BP, who for a time were acknowledged as the leading knowledge-enabled organisation in the UK. and it describes knowledge management as an enabler team, as an enabler of project teams in the bottom left-hand side there, delivering their results over in the bottom right-hand side. So to explain this just a little bit further, at the outset of its work, the learning before phase, the goal is to support a project team to supplement the knowledge, experience and skills of the people in the team by enabling them to access relevant knowledge in the form of either content or know-how, or what you might hear referred to as explicit and tacit knowledge. So with content, that might mean accessing exemplar or sample deliverables, organizational good practice, templates, or other tools and guidance. And from a know-how perspective, that might mean arranging a discussion with a subject expert or tapping into the insight of a topic or proficiency-based community of practice or network, or speaking with a project team who finished work in a similar area and learning about the challenges and successes that they've faced. As a project team completes its work, it's then in the learning after phase, and we want to then support that team to package and share their content and know-how. So that might be with a fast follower project team, for example, who can then distill and contextualize that knowledge for their own circumstance. In the middle, you've got the learning during phase, when a project team is working through its design, build, test, and delivery phases. And it may have a continuing need to then draw down relevant content and know-how. So perhaps, for example, if an evaluation of a recently completed similar project becomes available, or it might be in a position to begin to package and share its own initial set of know-how from the challenges it's faced in, let's say, a pilot phase. And just to note, the learning phases here are circular, such that a team's accumulated knowledge in one phase can inform the next phase. And if the project is a large-scale one, perhaps if it's got implementation at multiple sites, then the packaged knowledge of the learning after phase from one site can become the learning before input at the next site. And so on a large-scale project, you may go around this model multiple times. But what it basically boils down to is about supporting teams to access, manage, and share knowledge at the right time. So with that model in mind, if we think back to the two objectives that we had on the previous slide, then the internal SI Knowledge Hub supports the top two components of this diagram. So it's primarily about providing a knowledge bank of content and to some extent know-how, whilst our knowledge service is geared towards the bottom half of the diagram. So we're supporting teams to pivot around those three learning phases in a way that supports their delivery. So assuming that makes reasonable sense, what we'll do is go and have a look at the Knowledge Hub. I'll just share my application here. So hopefully everybody can see that. So this is the front page of our SI Knowledge Hub. It's on the NHS England intranet site. If you have a look at the address, it's actually available under the TCO area of the intranet, and it's available to everybody in NHS England. So just to walk through this, so from the top, the top right-hand side, we've first of all got some global navigation. This appears on every page of the Knowledge Hub. And so consultancy and capability relate to our knowledge service. So that's where we enable teams to pivot around those three learning phases that we've just looked at, whilst content, curate, and collaborate relate to our set of improvement content and know-how, which was the top part of that diagram. As we scroll down, we've got three areas that we regularly maintain. So firstly, we've got announcements. So we use these to promote new content or highlight a particular content topic. And we have new announcements every 2 or 3 days. And then we've got a couple of features that we call coffee breaks and newsstands, as you can see. And they're intended to be something that you can quickly scan. And I'll come back to those in more detail a little bit later on in this walkthrough. And then as we scroll down, Just here on the right-hand side, we use a SharePoint web part to show what the latest changes or updates are to the Knowledge Hub. And then as we scroll down further, we then provide more detail for our 3 content entry points. So that's content, curate, and collaborate. And we've also added a workflow process where a project team can submit their content for approval, and if it's approved, it will then go into our knowledge bank. Then as we scroll down further, we have more information and entry points for our knowledge service through consultancy and our knowledge capability products. And if you have some spare time on your hands, we also write a quarterly knowledge blog too. And then finally on the homepage, what we do is provide some quick links to some of our knowledge capability products. So that includes, as you can see here, before action review, after action review, and retrospect toolkits, which are the key activities a team can undertake to capture and share their know-how or their tacit knowledge. So let's go to the next level of detail, and we'll start with content. So we could access that from the global navigation, or from the SharePoint navigation over here on the left-hand side, or we could use the links that are on the main page. So there's a link there. The icon's actually a link as well. Okay, so it's important to note the Sustainability Improvement Team is actually the 4th or 5th generation of improvement team or body in the NHS. So SI can trace its lineage through organisations such as NHS Improving Quality, NHS Institute, the old NHS Improvement that closed in about 2012, 2013, NHS Diabetes and Kidney Care, all the way back to the NHS Modernisation Agency in the early 2000s. Which means we've accumulated an awful lot of improvement content in excess of 10,000 items, which amounts to a strong and robust knowledge base of improvement delivery. However, it is way too much to effectively search. So for the Knowledge Hub, what we've done is worked with our teams and subject experts to select the best or most relevant of our content, and we've supplemented that with our current deliverables, such that at the moment we're managing a content set of approximately 1,300 content items, which is, we hope, both the best of what we have, and it's a more cohesive set of improvement knowledge content, and it's easier to search for users. So in terms of searching those 1,300 content items, there are basically 2 ways that you can go about it. You can go through the search bar, which we can see on the page at the moment, or you can, if we scroll down, you can browse through some keywords. So we'll have a look at both. So first of all, with the search bar, so this search feature only searches on that 1,300 content item set and the pages that we set up to support them. It's not searching the full Knowledge Hub, and it's not searching the full NHS England intranet. And you would use it like any other search engine, and it works particularly well if you have something specific in mind that you want to search. So let's say, for instance, that you're interested in anything we might have on leading large-scale change. I'll just type in those 4 words, we'll hit enter. I'll just scroll down, and we can see we've got 189 hits. So if we just scan the results for a moment, I'll start from the bottom. You can see we've got some content that relates to a 2017 edition. We'll go to the top. We can see the top hit is a recent publication from SI, which was a 2017 edition of the Leading Large-Scale Change Guidance. But if we look a little bit more closely, we can also see there is some content that dates from 2011. Which was actually the first edition of this publication. So if 189 hits feels like a little bit too much to peruse or to search, then let's see if we can narrow those hits a little bit. So instead of searching for the words individually, we're going to search for the phrase leading large-scale change. So just added some quotation marks, and we can see now we've managed to scale back our hits to 42. So now let's say you've got a good sense of the content here or the hits, and you can see there's some 2017 content, some 2011 content. So let's see, or suppose that you now just want to find the 2017 content. So what we'll do is add a Boolean operator of and the year 2017. Scroll down, and we can see now we've got 216 hits. And if we have a look at the results, we can see it looks like all of the 2017 material has now floated to the top. So we've got the guide, but we've got some support materials that describe the offer. There's a flyer, there's an executive summary, and so on. So by utilizing some good practice online search skills, we can narrow hits pretty effectively, pretty quickly, to a set that's meaningful for you to scan and access. Okay, so that's how to use the search bar. So we'll go back, and this time we'll access the content by the keyword. So scroll down. So this works well, these entry points work well if you are less familiar with our set of improvement content, but you're really interested to learn what's available. So all of our 1,300 content items have been tagged with a range of keywords which we can use to support discovery of similar groups of content. So we provide, as you can see, 4 keyword entry points, which are improvement topic, applied improvement, improvement project, and resources. So to show you how this works, let's have a look at the resources page. So this is actually our most popular keyword entry point, and these are the resource keywords that we use. So all of our 1,300 content items is classified either as case study, guidance, lessons learned, marketing, and so on. So what we'll do is click on publications. And what we get next is another of our keyword sets. So this is the organization that authored or published the content. So in this case, we'll select NHS Institute. And now we get to a third keyword set, which is the project that authored the content item. So on this occasion, let's select quality improvement. We'll just let that load. And what we get to is the single publication that was produced on this project. So there might have been other content from this project, but this item is the only one that got classified as a publication. And incidentally, that's a very thorough read on the topic of quality improvement. It looks at approaches and concepts and their application in healthcare. So if quality improvement is a new topic to you, that particular publication is a good place to start. So let's go back, and this time, we'll go and have a look at guidance. And what we're going to try and do this time is try and find the 2017 edition of the Leading Large-Scale Change guidance that we searched for just a few moments ago. So click on guidance, and because we know we're looking for a recently published item, we can click on NHS England. We look at the project names that we have there, and the one that we want is the Leading Large-Scale Change 2017 project. And we'll let that load. And we get directly to the 2017 guidance. So in contrast to the search results, when we were able to cut away, what we've done here is we've been able to cut away all the other 2017 supporting materials. We've just we don't have the flyer, we don't have the executive summary, you just get directly to the guidance. And equally, we've cut away the 2011 edition as well. Moreover, if we scroll up and down here, the other content items on this page are the other items that have also been classified as guidance and published during our time in NHS England. So through the keywords, we can browse efficiently and effectively within a structured navigation framework. So if we go back, so let's say that now you want to isolate all of the content items that were associated with that 2017 Leading Large-Scale Change guidance. So if we go back to knowledge content page, one more. And this time, we'll have a look at the improvement project keyword. So we know that we're looking for an NHS England project, so we'll click on that. And there's the project name that we're interested in, so we'll click on that. And what we've done now is isolated not only the guidance, which is the first link there, but all of the supporting material that was produced alongside that guidance, so the executive summary, the flyer, and the offer. So this compares well with the volume of hits that we saw when we searched, even when we employed phrases and Boolean operators. And just to note here, the content also includes a lessons learned report, which collates this project team's know-how that it gains from going through the process to produce this guide. So if you're working on a similar guidance or publication that's intended to support leaders in the NHS to deliver change and transformation, it could well be worth perusing that report to benefit from some of this team's lessons learned. So if we go back, and let's assume now that you're interested to go back and peruse the 2011 edition of this guidance, then we can do that too. So that was published by the NHS Institute organisation. The project was Academy for Large Scale Change. And what we've done now is isolate all of the 2011 content as well. And just to note here, with that project also included an evaluation. So again, it's another set of know-how and tacit knowledge that you can access if you're working on a similar publication, as well as accessing the content item as well. So through Improvement Project, what we can do is we've got an effective way to look at the content and know-how from a particular project. Okay, so just quickly, what we'll do is have a look at the other two keyword entry points. So that was improvement topic here and applied improvement. So all of our content is tagged with either an improvement topic value or an applied improvement value. So let's first look at improvement topic. So here we categorize our content by one of the 8 values of the NHS change model. And the content here is typically a publication, guidance, or a tool. So let's look at leadership for all. And if we select guidance, and once again, we can find the 2017 Leading Large Scale Change guidance document. But what we also get are all the other content that's classified as guidance for this topic of leadership for all. So if we go back to the top and click on publications, we can see we've got quite a wide range of publications as well to support this topic, including a whole bunch of content items that are prefixed ILG, which is Improvement Leaders Guides. And these remain amongst some of our most popular and valued resources. So the important thing to note is on this page, it contains all the resources that match a keyword of leadership for all. So it's a great one-stop shop for all of our content that relates to that particular improvement theme. So we just go back, we'll have a look at one more. This time we're going to have a quick look at measurement. So here we've got a wide array of materials that relate to measuring the impact and value of an improvement project. So again, for example, if we click on guidance, we have overviews of demand and capacity, balanced scorecards, benefits realization. If we scroll down, we've got content relating to contribution analysis, demand and capacity again, driver diagrams, and so on. If we go back and we'll have a quick look at publications. Here we've got publications that relate to run and control charts, driver diagrams again, and a guide to creating good indicators. So if we go back to the top, I'll just quickly highlight another new piece of work from SI this year, or in the past year, but still in the same delivery year, which is the SI Impact Framework. It was developed by SI's Research and Evaluation team, and it's an impact framework for improvement projects to support them to develop, as you can see on the right-hand side, their output and outcome measures, to support them to review their evidence, and to build and tell their impact story. So this is a resource that's potentially useful to lots of teams in NHS England who have that interest in building an impact story for their work. Okay, so finally, in terms of content, we have just one more entry point, which is applied improvement. So this is content that relates to the delivery of our large-scale or long-term improvement projects. So you can come here and access, for example, all of our content with respect to 7-day services. So the content here, because it's delivery-focused, is more likely to be case studies, presentations, lessons learned, or evaluations. And as I scroll down, you'll see, at least in the case of 7-day services, we have an awful lot of 7-day services case studies. Okay, so that's a guide to searching and browsing our improvement content and know-how. So that's probably quite a lot to take in. So I'm just going to return to the slides, and what we'll do is just summarize what we've looked at. Okay, so the internal SI Knowledge Hub contains content and know-how from 4 generations of NHS improvement organisational body. We've selected the best or most relevant of that content to provide a cohesive set for any improvement team in NHS England to access. And you can search or browse that content, which are really complementary approaches, providing different ways to access the same content set. So we would recommend that you use search when you are familiar with our improvement content set and you have a particular content item or set of items in mind that you want to pinpoint specifically. With search, you're in control, so you define the terms that you want to search on. So again, it's good if you are familiar with our content or you're familiar with the language of improvement. And then as you scan your first search results, you can refine your search to help you pinpoint what you're after by, for example, searching for phrases rather than words and employing Boolean operators to add further keywords or terms such as a date or an author. In contrast, we recommend that you use browse if you are unfamiliar with our content and want to discover what we have. Browse is good if you value the guidance of navigating through an already defined keyword structure, so you don't have to define the keywords. And by grouping similar content together, Browse is good to skim over related groups of content so that, for example, you can access content that relates to the same topic or comes from the same project. So it enables you to discover more content that you might not have been aware of. And if you choose to browse, let's just go forwards on the slides. Remember, there are 4 ways to browse, which are different ways to slice and dice the same content. And they are, as you can see, by improvement topic, which groups our content by the 8 terms of the NHS change model, which are listed here at the bottom of the slide. And this entry point is really good if you want to access improvement-related guidance, publications, and tools. Then we have applied improvement. So this content relates to our long-term improvement projects. The list of those is at the bottom of the slide. And this is best for case studies, lessons learned, presentations, and evaluations. Then we have improvement project, which is good if you are familiar with past improvement project delivery. Content here is organized by authoring organization and project. And finally, we've got resource or resource type, which groups content together or groups similar types of content together. The list is there at the bottom. And this has proved to be the most popular of our keyword entry points, with case studies and publications being the most highly accessed resource types. Okay, so that's internal content. What we'll do is just look at, go back to the hub, and we'll have a look at the other type of content that we maintain on the hub. So I'll just go back to the home page. Oops. And what we're going to do now is have a look at the Curate page. So what we do on the Curate page is provide access to external knowledge and intelligence. So content provided access to our past body of deliverables, which are our intellectual capital. Now we're looking at external knowledge, primarily content. So on this page, we provide access, first of all, to a number of RSS feeds, where RSS feeds, as I'm sure you know, provide the facility to access the most recent updates to a particular website. So that might be an organization website, but it might also be a news site or a business or academic journal or periodical. So in this way, RSS feeds provide quite a simple way to get a snapshot of what's currently going on and what's new out in the system or out in the real world, if you like, either in the form of latest news or latest evidence and research. So we've got about 15 or so feeds on this page, and as I scroll down, you'll get a good sense for these. So we've got feeds from Department of Health, NHS England, NHS Improvement, King's Fund, both their publications and their policy alerts, HSJ, BMJ, The Guardian, which carries a big health news section, Harvard Business Review, NHS Confederation, and then we're into the journal and periodical content. We've got Journal of Nursing Management, Management Sloan Review, Journal of Organizational Behavior, Journal of Innovation and Learning, and so on. So if we go back to the top, and we'll open up a couple of these items and we can show you how they work. So go back to, let's try the NHS England ones first of all. So what you do, click on the link, and what you get are the first few lines from that item, but each of the items has a link on the word more. So if you click on that, what it will do is then take you out to the source website, so you can now access that item in full. We go back. We'll do the same on the Department of Health. Click on more, and we've gone out to the Gov UK site where the Department of Health publishes its new material. So these feeds automatically update, and for a user, from a user point of view, every once in a while, they're a great place to come to give you a snapshot of current intelligence in health, in care, and improvement. And as you click on those more links, what you will find is that some content is free, some content you're going to need to subscribe for, and in some cases you may need to pay for some content, particularly where that content is in a journal or subscription, sorry, in a journal or a periodical. So what we've tried to do in the title of these feeds is indicate what the different types of access are that you have. So you've got free access, and then as we scroll down,
right, Andrew, we seem to have lost sound with you currently. Okay, so if you just bear with us for one moment, everybody. I think Andrew's just dropped offline for a moment. And Heather, are you able to pick up at all?
Sorry, caught me on the hop there, Elaine. Hopefully Andrew comes in first. I mean, Andrew, as I say, was going through the detail of what we've got. As you can see on the screen, this is how the internal hub is broken down, and all the useful resources that you can access. Looks like he's not joining.
Yeah, I think he's having a technical issue just for one moment, so we'll just have to bridge the gap beautifully between us, Heather. I mean, it might be a good moment to... Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, Andrew has clearly pointed out that this is all available on SharePoint and is available to anyone within NHS England. So even if you've just got, there's useful intelligence in there for your any of your projects and programs. And if any of you have had an interest in improvement in any kind, there's it's got an abundance of resources in there that might kick you off on your improvement journey, and find out all the basics around improvement and the methodology and the tools that underpin any kind of improvement, whether it's some small or large scale change, which yourself, Elaine, you lead on.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. Thanks, Heather. And I'm just wondering actually whether it might be a good moment just to pause and see if anybody's got any questions about the first part of Andrew's presentation. I know Sarah was on there and asked whether we'd be sharing the slides after the session, which we absolutely will do, so we can make sure that everyone's got access to the slides. And we're also we're recording this session, so we will share the recording with everybody should you want to listen back to it or to pass it on to colleagues actually so that they can listen in and learn from what we've been doing. So let's open it up to the floor for a minute then, Heather, whilst hopefully Andrew is sorting out his connection issues. Hasn't happened before in a webinar, has it? So hopefully we'll be back online shortly. So yeah, if you've got a question that you'd like to ask about the first part of the hub that you've just seen and demonstrated to you, would you like to use the raise hand icon or maybe pop a question in the chat box? And hopefully between Heather and I, we can answer those questions, and we'll have Andrew back shortly, we hope. And we've also got Joe online too, haven't we, who supports the team. So Joe, you can help field questions for us as well, hopefully. I'll just give you a second, because I know it takes a little while to write out messages in the chat box, doesn't it? But Heather and I were discovering earlier trying to type.
Yeah. Andrew and the team regularly put updates in the England newsletter. So if you want any updates on the hub, please make sure you're signed up to the Engage newsletter, because there's always updates in there. We also, and Andrew briefly touched on it, do the coffee breaks, which is every other week, which Joe, who is online, leads on. So they're really great sort of quick snapshots of latest intelligence and information. So I would encourage all of you basically to tap into those. They're really short and sweet, so it's, as it says in the title, it's quite easy to read it all while having a cup of coffee, so I would recommend it.
Thanks, Heather. So we've got a comment through from Charlie Keeney. Thanks, Charlie, who's saying really helpful session to help orientate us around the hub. The curation of past resources does prioritise what is likely to be most relevant blended with current materials. So he'd like to encourage everyone to basically take a look. It's an absolute treasure trove. So thank you, Charlie. It's a brilliant comment, as Joe's just said. Okay, so it seems like Andrew's back, but he's having some technical mute problems. Rachel, could you see whether or not you can mute Andrew? He's not showing us live on my side of the screen, so I'll let you guys see if you can do that in the background. So it'd be interesting to know, actually, from the folk we've got on the audience at the moment, how many people have actually looked in the hub or who've attempted to navigate the different content items that are on there, or who would be kind of interested in going and having a look now. So maybe you could put a note in the chat box, let us know what you've done, if you've been on the hub, what you found useful, or raise your hand and we can unmute you and we can have a bit of a two-way conversation. Because we've not got a feel at the moment for whether any of you guys have actually been on the hub or whether it's something that's completely new to everybody. So thanks, Charlie. You need to be brave and try Rss Feeds. Yes, that terminology is quite new to me. Does anybody know what RSS stands for? I'll throw that out to you, Heather. Putting you on the spot again.
I did know, I can't remember offhand actually, but I did used to know. And I used to use Rss Feeds and still do actually a lot. So basically, and I'm not the expert on this, and Andrew and Joe are, but you can put a keyword in, and basically, like a keyword, anything that's got that word in, you will get a regular update, a regular feed, and it will then direct you to places, not just that's on this hub, but externally to a number of knowledge resources. So I would recommend. There you go, Charlie's put in. It's just just Googled it, which site's the summary, apparently. But I have used them in the past for key areas. So you just set one up, put it in, and you can search away, and it feeds back lots of wish intelligence that's very specific to what you want to find out about. So it's great.
Brilliant. So we've got a couple of folks feeding back. So Sarah Iverson, thanks Sarah. So yes, you've been and you've searched for docs on the hub before. Be interesting to know, Sarah, what you've searched for and how useful you've kind of found it, and how easy was it to navigate, etc. So perhaps come back to you in just a minute, Sarah, if you're happy to share a bit more information. And Nick Hodgetts, thanks for your comment, Nick. So you've been on there not for a while. You'll be revisited again properly after your leave. So we've got a commitment online. That's fantastic. Thanks, Nick. I have to say from my side, I used it to help us when we were starting the work on the large-scale change guide, and just thinking, what might be helpful to include as part of refresh content for that guide, which was absolutely fantastic. So what else have we got in here? Andrew, have we got you back?
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me?
Excellent. We can hear you now. Yes, you're not showing us live on our screen, bizarrely. So, okay, great. So, just to finish off very briefly then, we've also had Sarwar Khan, who said it's easy to navigate and she found it really helpful. So that's fantastic to know. Thank you. And someone look, used it before for large-scale change docs. Hadn't realised how much more was there. It's brilliant, from Rain Comley. So thank you, Rain. And lots more comments. So thanks, everybody. Right, Andrew, back to you.
Yeah, okay. God, I'm really sorry about that. That's weird. That was real Friday gremlin stuff. I think I've got to talk about Rss Feeds, but I heard Heather mention coffee breaks. So we're quite close to the end of my piece, but we'll go and have a quick look at the coffee breaks and see if we can find Google search on RSS there. So I'll just go back to the hub and try and pick up where we were. So we'd had a look at the RSS feeds, which are a great way, I think, as I was saying, to access external insight and knowledge. What we try and do as well is a couple of things. So Joe in my team scans that RSS page and scans those RSS feeds every day or two to identify the nuggets that we think it's really vital to communicate and raise a general awareness of. And so what we do every 2 weeks is produce the coffee break that Heather's just mentioned. So if we go in and we'll have a look at a recent example, within this, what you'll find are the 6 or 8 links where Joe, I'd say, selected what we think are really interesting and relevant items for lots of people, and Joe will then write a sentence or two synopsis, and if that looks of interest to you, you then have the link that you can follow. So when we produce these coffee breaks, what we're looking for are 3 distinct things. First of all, anything that's just related to a current hot topic. So we know STPs and ACOs are really current, of course, in the NHS at the moment. And in this edition of the coffee break, we found a briefing paper that was published by the House of Commons Library on ACOs. So it's actually quite a good paper to read, just to get an understanding and perhaps a slightly different perspective on ACOs and to learn what the MPs have been briefed on. The second item or second area that we look for are items that relate to our current improvement project portfolio. So in this case, that's on primary care. And then the third area is just generally items that relate to improvement science. So we've got items that are here in terms of improvement and innovation. Okay, so we could just go back to the Knowledge Hub. Mentioned over here on the right-hand side, we also have Newsstands. So these are topic-specific related news feeds, similar to the Curate page. So if we have a look at the Transforming Care Newsstand, just to give you a sense of these. So what we provide here, this column will just take a little while to load, but across 2 columns, what we're trying to do here is provide the latest news items for a given keyword. So instead of the multiple feeds that we saw on the Curate page, here what we have are 2 columns that are pulling from a range of sources all the news items that relate to keywords of transforming care, or learning disability. And as you can see, as you just look across these two columns, the items come from a range of sources, both national and local, but again, it provides a really good and valuable snapshot of what's currently around with respect to this topic. And then what we also do with the Newsstands, if we just scroll down, is we provide access to secondary research sources. So that includes Google Scholar, Open Grey, which amongst other things is a good place to go and get conference presentations, as well as the Open Athens platform that NICE provides, and that's a good source of clinical journal content. So where we can, what we've done, click on the Google Scholar link, is set up that link so that it's searching on the relevant keywords straight away. So as you can see at the top, we set this up to search on a term of learning disabilities or learning disability. And of course, as we did with search on the internal hub, you can add terms to that with either further words or phrases and add more Boolean operators and so on. But it gives you a good sense of what the current research is in journals and periodicals for a particular topic. So the Newsstand pages are a good place to come to get that latest snapshot of news and research and quickly peruse and scan what's available. So finally, just in terms of the content that we carry on the Knowledge Hub, we've just got one further area which is called Collaborate. So I'll go into the England link here to give you a sense of this. So what we do on this page, if you scroll down a little bit, is provide you with the opportunity to learn about and link out and tap into external knowledge, insight and expertise. So on this page, what we're doing is providing links and descriptions to communities of practice, networks, platforms and organizations that play some sort of role in the health improvement or transformation space. And as you can see, if we scroll down here, there's an awful lot of organizations and platforms to tap into. So for example, we've got links here to AHSNs, ACWA, HALO, Health Education England, the Knowledge and Innovation Network, there's something called the London Strategic Clinical Network, and so on. If I just click back out, and we're going to just click into the worldwide one as well, you can see there are similar organizations and platforms that are available to connect and tap into potentially a wealth of external health improvement experience and expertise. So if I'll stop sharing, I'll just go back to the slide and we'll just summarize that second tranche of the material that we've looked at. So the Curate page provides access to automatically updating news feeds. It provides a snapshot of news, intelligence and research on health and a range of improvement topics. Coffee breaks are a bi-weekly alert that's intended to be a quick read, curating relevant news and research items, and you can access these directly from the hub, or we always put a notice out on Yammer when a new one is available. And Newsstands are topic-based news feeds which also provide access to secondary research, so you can quickly scan and get an up-to-date snapshot of news, intelligence and evidence. And the current Newsstand topics are listed there on the slide. And then Collaborate provides links to other external health improvement organisations, platforms and networks in both England, the rest of the UK and worldwide. So that covers all of the content and intelligence we maintain on the Knowledge Hub. So just quickly, we'll have a look at the consultancy and capability information that we carry on the hub as well. Let's quickly go and have a look at consultancy. So this is the service that we provide as a knowledge team to improvement teams, and what we do here is just provide some background on that service. Here we've got a link to the knowledge model, which was the slide that we looked at earlier. On this page, we also provide an overview of the service that we provide and the tools that we use to enable that service. So we have a discussion guide, we have a diagnostic to support a team to figure out what the relevant knowledge activities are for that team, and then we have something we call a knowledge productivity plan, but it's just a way of documenting what the right knowledge activities are for a particular given team. And as we said at the outset, the goal for our service is to support improvement teams to pivot around those 3 learning phases so that they can effectively create, manage, package, share their knowledge and content and know-how in a way that supports their delivery. And a big part of that is because we're a small team, is to support teams to build their own knowledge capability. And so our capability page provides access to a range of tools to support teams. We'll just quickly look at one of those. So if I go into share knowledge, we'll have a look at the retrospect. So you may have seen in Engage last week that we've published an article promoting the retrospect toolkit. So I'll click in. The retrospect is a learning after discussion that a team can undertake, and it enables the team to reflect and distill its key learning points from its discovery. So in the toolkit, we provide a further introduction and description to the process, but the most important part is that we provide step-by-step guidance on how to conduct an effective retrospect. So we've got step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. And as you can see, for each step, it's a facility to download a template, and there's some facilitator slides as well. So a team can self-facilitate their own retrospect. And at least in SI, I think it's fair to say, we've found the retrospect discussion process has been a very useful, almost cathartic experience for teams to recall both their successes and also to reflect on challenges, how they emerged, and in particular, how they were addressed. So going through that process provides a good set of know-how and insight that can help inform future improvement projects. So just to close from my perspective, just go to the last slide that I've got here. So just to wrap up, as I say, from my perspective, we provide a consultancy service. We work through a nominated person on a project team, call them a knowledge champion, and the goal is to support that team to define the relevant knowledge actions for them. Equally, we have a full set of knowledge capability products right through that learning cycle we saw in the earlier diagram. But what we're going to do in March is repackage those tools into a new knowledge management toolkit, and we're going to use, as you may guess from the diagram here, an analogy of a car journey. So we expect to be able to publish that in March. So look out for the Engage article and the Yammer notices, or just come onto the Knowledge Hub. And of course, in the meantime, you're more than welcome to come onto the internal hub and explore the content and know-how that we've looked at through the course of this webinar. Okay, I think that's it from me. I'll hand over to Heather just to quickly cover the external knowledge hub.
Thank you, Andrew. So as you can see, there is a lot of information that Andrew's kind of taking you through, but also that is available on the internal hub. So I'll now give you a very, very whistle-stop tour of the external hub. We'll just move on to slide. Thank you, Andrew. I'll get onto there you go. So this is the home page to the external hub, and it's an annex to the NHS England website, so anyone and everyone can access it. And you can see at the bottom, the web link is england.nhs.uk/improvement-hub. So please let everyone know about it, so you can all see all the wonderful things that are on there. So this external hub came about for several reasons, but the main ones was because, as Andrew touched on, the Sustainable Improvement Team originally was made up of several national improvement teams, which in the past created an abundance of helpful improvement tools, guidance, case studies, and what have you. And when we became Sustainable Improvement, we were still getting inquiries for some of these previous practical guidance and toolkits and what have you. So we needed to find somewhere where we could put all these past publications so people could access them, and this is how we came up with this hub. Secondly, the other reason was because it was part of two deliverable requirements that came out of the Smith Review and the current Delivering People Improvement Care Framework, which the Sustainable Improvement Team is part of, with a number of other arm's length bodies, including Health Education England and NHS Improvement. So this is what we came up with, as I say, as an answer to those two main requirements and the amount of inquiries that we was receiving. So if you go into the hub, and I haven't done it. I wasn't as confident as Andrew doing it direct onto the World Wide Web, so I've just cut and pasted it onto PowerPoint slides. But as you can see from the hub, you can find an abundance of kind of information via a variety of ways. So we've tried to group it into areas of interest and key topic areas. So you can see like acute and emergency care, or clinical areas like cancer or cardiac or primary care, and you can find those. They're on the home page, and also when you click into the actual hub. So I will take you to the next bit of the hub. So really simple. There's several ways, as I say, you can find the resources that you want to look at. At the moment, there's approximately 150 resources that are on there. These have been picked by and seen as exemplar improvement resources, not just by us, but by improvement specialists from across the system. So the 150 on there are sort of deemed as being some of the best resources that are available. So you can find the various resources and practical guidance in a number of ways, either by publication type, which of course is a toolkit, case study, presentation, whatever, or by medical condition, some of which was listed on the previous slide, or via improvement challenge. So that could be, I guess, demanded capacity, or system transformation, or capability building. And if you are really au fait with your improvement resources and you knew when something was originally produced, you could even put in the date to find it. As I say, we've got about approximately 150 on there at the moment, but we are aiming to build on this on a weekly basis. So if there is any resources you think that are in existence that aren't currently on the hub and should be, please do get in touch with myself or anyone in the Sustainable Improvement Team, and we will see what we can do to try and get it on there to make it available. As I say, this resource is available. This hub is available to anyone and everyone within England or external to NHS England. Sadly, Andrew's fantastic resource is only available to us, that's, as I say, within NHS England at the moment, but we are aiming to, I guess, cherry pick some of the stuff from the internal improvement knowledge hub and bring it onto the external one, so it's wider, so it's available to a wider audience. That's it really. So thank you very much to everyone for listening to Andrew and myself. Any questions, please fire away.
Thanks, Heather. Fantastic. So much rich content on both of those hubs. So it's brilliant to be able to take the opportunity to run folks through what's on both the internal knowledge hub and our new external improvement hub. We've had one query come in from Salwa Khan saying that she's received information via email yesterday stating that YAMA won't be available until March due to improvements to the system. So just wondering how that might affect some of this. Do you have any answer to that at the moment, guys?
We tend to use it to promote information, so it just probably denies us a way of communicating what's new on the hub. So I don't know, we might be having to use Engage a little bit more, or hopefully people have valued what they've seen today and can come and have a look at the hub directly.
Okay, thank you. And I think lots of other comments in the chat box, which basically have been saying that folk have already been in, had a look round, and they found it really helpful and useful being able to navigate through content easily actually, given the way that you guys have set it up in the background. So it makes it easy for the rest of us to access content quite readily. Are there any other additional queries or questions just in the last minute that anybody would like to raise with Andrew or Heather whilst we still have them online? You can either just raise your hand or quickly pop a message in the chat box. Just give you a couple of seconds to have a little think. And all of the links have been helpfully shared with everybody in the chat box, so you can just copy and paste those if you want to grab any of those links, so you can go and have a look after today's session. Okay, Rachel, have we got any hands raised in the background I'm not seeing?
No, none.
Okay, so there's a question, last minute question, then goes to Ian Robson, asking who are we best contacting to request documents being put onto the external hub?
Hi Ian, please contact Gary Bouch in the Knowledge and Engagement team. He's the lead for the external hub, so he'll be the best person to have a discussion with. Okay, thanks. And could Joe, you pop Gary's email address in the chat box? That would be really helpful. Thank you. Okay, so huge thanks from me, guys, for pulling this together and doing our first kind of presentation to our NHS England-wide colleagues. It's a fantastic resource, so really great to be able to share that with everybody. And we hope you all take the opportunity to go and have a look, and also to kind of spread the word, really, let colleagues know, because the more folk we get using this, the more we can continue to improve it to make sure we're supporting everybody's improvement ambitions. So just in the last few seconds then, because we always make a promise to start on time and finish on time, despite IT gremlins, coming soon. Our next England-wide webinar will be on the 25th of April, and this is going to feature my lovely colleague Charlie Keeney, who's been chatting in the chat box this morning, and will feature the time for care work with general practice. So a really amazing programme with huge reach across general practice that's really helping with delivery of the 5-year full review for general practice. So please do let your colleagues know, and let's see if we can really increase numbers for the session in April. Okay, so huge thanks everybody, and have a great afternoon. Thank you.